Good morning. This is a hearing for the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing. Today is April 8, 2021. Today's hearing is being recorded pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. We are joined today by Executive Director Kathleen Joyce and Director of Operations Rebecca Fu. I will read the agenda item into the record, after which I will ask who is present on behalf of the applicant. You will have an opportunity to make a presentation followed by questions from the executive director, after which we will take public testimony beginning with elected officials or their representatives. Calling at 1260 Boylston Street, LLC, doing business as Sojuba, located at 1265 Boylston Street. The request is to maintain and operate the categories of disc jockey, karaoke, dancing by patrons, instrumental music up to 9 performers, and vocal music up to 9 performers, and to operate background music on the rooftop, including televisions and speakers. The manager of record is Jin Chong. Attorney Dennis Quelty. Attorney Quelty?
Good morning, Attorney Delaney Hawkins. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of your staff, ONS, and Mr. Chong is with us as well. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. It's the so as suggested, the application is to allow Mr. Chong to provide the same forms of entertainment inside as had been performed by the previous operator, the Tony C's license at this site. Mr. Chong took over the property and license in 2020. This site has had live entertainment for a long time, in various iterations. We would like to ask for the same elements that were allowed previously on the interior of the premises. And on the outside, there is an expansive, as the board is well aware, or the commission, rooftop that faces the Fenway Park side of the building, which is seating and very popular area. On that area, there is presently, or there has been historically, background music and televisions, no live music. And we would like to continue to allow those forms of background and recorded music on the outdoor patio. So the request is really twofold. One, interior for the DJ, karaoke, dancing, instrumental, and vocalists up to 9 on the interior, and on the exterior rooftop, simply the background music and televisions, which were installed and in place on that rooftop long before Mr. Chong took over the premises. And obviously, we are now into the warm weather season, and it would be very beneficial to his business to be able to utilize that area fully. Jen, is that the conversation? Is that the ask as best we know you?
Yes, you said it perfectly clear, yes.
And I know we've met with Fenway Civic. I believe they had no issue with the interior. They were not in favor of exterior live. Mr. Chong agreed that he would have no live performance or entertainment of any kind on the rooftop, but made it clear that he was going to request the existing background and TV elements that had been there when he bought the property. So I think that's where we stand, and be happy to answer any questions.
Attorney Quilty or
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Chong, can you remind me what the capacity is of this rooftop?
The capacity of the rooftop, I believe, is about 195, for standing and sitting as well, altogether.
Okay. Do people rent it out for private events, or is it just an extension of the restaurant inside? Or both?
Well, due to COVID, we haven't done any kind of private events up there at all. It's for public. Yeah, and
Right. Presumably you could. Presumably you
What's
could
the-
rent it out for a private event.
Oh, yes, definitely. Weddings, receptions, definitely.
But in general, if someone's going to a Red Sox game, they could just have dinner there beforehand on the rooftop, leave and go to the Red Sox game. It's not just for private events.
No, you can, yes.
So it's
I
not
think,
something
Madam
where,
Chair, I think historically that's the way it was operated in the past.
okay.
I'm pretty certain.
Okay, and so there's no like additional cover charge to get out onto the roof?
No, not at all. We don't do anything like that.
Okay. Have you submitted a dispersal plan or a security plan to the board?
Dennis?
In general, I know you haven't had crowds yet, but we would in general like to have on record, if there is some sort of special event up there, how you're gonna deal with security and dispersal after the event. Especially since you're in this
we
neighborhood
are-
where there's
I'm
lots of
sorry.
other events going on.
But if there isn't one on file, we'd be happy to provide one, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I'm just not aware whether there is or isn't. I'll have to look in and see myself.
okay.
As in certification, I am crowd control certified.
Okay.
We have appropriate plans, well, not plans, but we have all the ID computer checker downstairs that we check as well. But yes, and my assistant manager, other people as well, is crowd control management certified as well. I don't know
Okay.
if that's the question you were asking, but yes.
Okay. And so I'm sorry, you will be having a dance floor inside, is that right?
Not at this time right now, no.
But are you requesting one in general
Yes,
or no?
yes. Yes.
The
I am.
request is to allow dancing by patrons inside only, exactly.
Okay, so explain to me if there's like a special event inside where there's, how will you control people under 21 coming in? Or if you have under 21 events, how are you gonna ID them and stuff like that?
Can you
I'm
explain?
picturing
your-
inside like live entertainment inside under 21.
Do you have
Yeah,
any insight?
No.
I'm sorry, just explain, Jen, your ID checking protocols.
Right now, at this point, after 10 p.m., there's no one under 21 is allowed to come into our restaurant, number one. And second is we have our own ID checker computer system. It's a scanner that scans someone in the front at the front door, checks all the ID, every single person's ID that comes in as well. And that's the kind of the protocol beginning of trying to get into the place.
And then our IDs checked at tables and at the bar as well.
Absolutely, of course.
And
Okay,
I
that's
just want to say, Madam Chair, that Mr. Chong has operated other establishments in the city, has I think, a pretty good track record. He was across the street for many years. He's very familiar with the neighborhood, very familiar with the crowds that come and go with games and events at Fenway, and very familiar with, the college kids, et cetera, et cetera. So he's
Absolutely.
long
Yes.
experience.
I've been there for a while.
Right
Okay.
across the street for many years.
Do you will you be using promoters for any of these nights that you have entertainment?
I haven't got to that point this far as in using the promoters. We don't need, I don't think, promoters to advertise a company.
Okay.
That'd be something that would be in the thought later, probably. I'm not really sure. We haven't even thought to that point to think of promoters, but chances are no.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Rebecca Fu. Do you have any questions that you need answered before we go on to the other people?
Yes, so I know Sojoba is usually like a restaurant, but will it function almost like a nightclub on other nights? I'm not familiar with Tony C's, so I don't know.
When you say function as a nightclub, you mean like? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think she just cut off.
I think Rebecca froze, but will the emphasis on the weekend instead of seated table service be more the entertainment at the licensed premise?
I think it ends up being kind of a hybrid, quite frankly. I think there is, it really depends upon what's going on at Fenway, which is obviously the biggest draw in the neighborhood. Game times, show times at Fenway, there's a lot of activity before and after. I think on nights where there might not be anything going on at Fenway, it'd be more likely that if you were allowed these forms of entertainment, and these forms of entertainment existed prior to his involvement, and I think they operated in a similar fashion. So they would use, the entertainment functions later at night. And I think when Mr. Chong suggested after 10, not allowing under 21s in, it was basically for that reason that, between, after work, if you will, and 10 p.m., it's more likely somebody might be dining afterwards, perhaps more likely they might come for the music and entertainment. So it's kind of, I think it's both, and I'm pretty certain that's the way Tony C's operated for its time in the premise as well. Jen, is that about what's going on there?
It's 100% correct. The restaurant itself, I think the question she was asking, I was getting confused, I'm sorry, is this place is not going to be a nightclub. I'm not expecting a restaurant to convert into a nightclub at all. I do want to have, obviously these entertainments are things where I do want to have options where, they would allow a DJ or even a band if there is some type of event that's going on. Even Red Sox is reaching out, before COVID that they would like to do a few private events upstairs and rooftop and stuff like that. So I do want these particular things to make sure that we have the right equipment to have the entertainment from the city that's allowed for us to do. But I don't have any plans for me to create a nightclub out of my restaurant. No, if that's what you're asking, it's not going to be a nightclub. That's not the route that I've gone through Fenway for now 4 years in Fenway. And I just want to make sure I give a proper entertainment for all the staff that's coming. All the customers are coming in, and that's is the way how I'm gonna go forward. But no, there's not gonna be a nightclub. No.
Okay, and then just to ask, you don't allow under 21 after 10 p.m., but what if someone comes prior to 10 o'clock? Are you going I assume you're not going to kick them out. Will you do wristbands, or how will you? Do you constantly check IDs? I know at the door you usually have someone that checks for IDs at 10 o'clock, but if someone came in beforehand, how would you know they're
Can
over
I
under?
ask that question? Okay, so the majority reservations, let's say for example, comes in around 7 o'clock. So what we do is anybody that came in that is just came for dinner. A lot of people do just come for dinner, and a lot of college kids do come for dinner. So what we do, and especially on weekends, what we do is basically staff all knows that what time they came, the reservations for. It's all recorded. We keep a name and a phone number and time frame. And right around the time for around 9 to 9:30, we do let them know, hey, listen, this at 10 o'clock we don't allow these. We don't want anybody under 21 in our establishment, and all the patrons do understand that they have to leave around that time frame. And that's how we've been doing so far, and it's been actually working out very well.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Leslie?
No, I don't have any additional questions. Is there anyone here who wishes to testify regarding this application?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Shanice Pimentel with Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of the proposal. We did not receive any concerns from the community except for the live entertainment on the roof, which they have agreed to not do. We do know that this restaurant doesn't face any residential apartments or units, and so we take that into account as well. We have no further questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other individuals who wish to testify? Seeing no one, the executive director will take this under advisement and will issue a written decision.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.